Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. And we have Brian Johnson. How's it going, Brian?
I'm doing well. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you, man. I'm going to give it to you right at the beginning here. So what do you do for a living? How do you train? All that good stuff.
Sure. So what do I do for a living? I'm an IT consultant. So I work for a company that's based in Minneapolis. I live part-time in Milwaukee and part-time in Phoenix, Arizona. I've got 2 adult children that are living in Milwaukee, and I'm married to a lovely woman who I've known since 3rd grade.
Seasonal, that's probably perfect. Like you do your winters in Arizona and then summers in Milwaukee.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, and so how do I train, Jerred? That's the unique thing I think for what I'm doing here is that as you can see maybe in the background here, I live in an apartment in downtown Milwaukee. My apartment is 850 square feet, so it's a huge space. And so I don't have a garage, needless to say. And up until COVID hit, I did not also have a garage in Arizona. I lived in a condo. And so my training takes place outside all the time. And so I train using a stairwell. I train using the lakeshore. I do a lot of stuff outside, or everything outside when I'm doing my training.
Yeah, I've seen some of your pictures, and it's very motivational. You know, just getting it done wherever you need to get it done. It's a very no excuses mentality. I really like that. So what do you have equipment wise? Like, what are you using to get it done?
So I had to shift rooms here real quick. Otherwise, I'd show you everything. My equipment literally consists of a jump rope, a 20-pound ruck plate, a ruck backpack, and a yoga mat. So I carry that with me every single day, and I head over to the stairwell over at the War Memorial Center, which is in downtown Milwaukee, and I'll either work out in that stairwell if I need to do pull-ups, because I use the stairwell to do the pull-ups. If there are no pull-ups in my workout, then I will go out and actually work out right on the lakeshore. So that's literally all the equipment that I own.
That's really cool. And the stairwell, I think, is an important part of this conversation already, because I've just done a lot of gym workouts, travel workouts. If you can find a stairwell, there's a good amount that you can do there, whether it's pull-ups or just actually utilizing the stairwell. I've hung rings from a stairwell, at different heights and stuff. So it's a very versatile area to get some functional fitness in.
It is. I'm tempted to print off the Garage Gym Athlete sign and post it up there when I'm working out. So someday you may see that photo show up.
Send you a banner and tag the stairwell.
That would be good. That would be good.
So what started you down this path of, minimal equipment and training the way you are training?
Sure. So probably this is going to answer more of your future questions. I apologize for that. But probably 6 years ago, I was doing a lot of heavy lifting, meaning I did bench, I did squats, I did deadlift, and then I did strict press. That was my workout. And I did a lot of heavy lifting because throughout the years I was fairly athletic, but I knew that as I was getting older, and I'm 51, that I know that as you lift heavy things, it helps your bone density and helps you, be a lot healthier as you get older. And so I was lifting heavy weights. And then in 2017, my life changed quite a bit. In the fall of 2017, I was diagnosed with heart failure. And so when I was meeting with my cardiologist, he asked me what I did for workouts, and I told him, he said, He said, that's too much strain on your heart and too intense for your heart. To do that, you got to find a different way to train. And so I did a lot of research, and frankly, I actually found your website because you were at that time doing the Murph. And one of the things I found was how to not suck at the Murph. And I really wasn't aware what the Murph was. And so I started looking at what you did to train for that. And I started trying to replicate that. I wasn't doing the Murph, but I was trying to replicate some of that stuff. So I bought a jump rope, started doing that, and doing pull-ups and a lot of body weight things to take the stress off of my heart. But the one thing I always did, and this is why I really like GGA a ton, is that every single Saturday I still went into the gym and lifted heavy because I wanted to make sure that I pushed myself one day a week harder than I did every single day. And so that, to me, I call those Saturday sessions. That was my own name for that, was that I did Saturday sessions, and I still did deadlift, and I still did squat. I still did bench press, and I still did strict press on that. And I did that all the way through up until about, till COVID hit, up until March of this year.
That's really incredible, man. That is quite the story. So you were on the Meet Yourself Saturday journey before even getting involved with Garage Gym Athlete. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it was just one thing I had to, in my own mind, I had goals I wanted to hit, and I wanted to make sure I could get to them.
Yeah, what are some of your goals right now?
So this is going to sound really lame, Jerred, so I apologize for that. But my goals right now are to really just get in the best shape of my life. Like I said, I am 51, and I want to make sure that I have a long-term path of health. So that means that I need to make sure that I'm keeping myself in shape, even though my heart is not in great shape. The rest of me needs to be in great shape, so that takes that pressure off my heart. So getting the best shape of my life is one of my goals. The other thing is, and this is the hardest goal for me, is to actually start eating better. If I did what you guys told me to do and what everyone else told me to do, I'd be in a lot better shape. But I like ice cream too much, and I like whiskey too much. So,
yeah, that's hey, one step at a time, right?
Exactly.
All right, and so I kind of got, like you said, what you're doing before you're a Garage Gym Athlete. I guess my question then goes to, how do you like training? How you're training now in this minimalist fashion compared to what you were doing previously, you know? So
I really am enjoying it. One of the challenges I actually had, Jerred, was trying to find the right program to do. So I was making up my own stuff. Like I said, I was doing jump rope because that was my cardio, because I hate running. And I was doing a lot of other things, but I had to keep making up my own workout. And I really didn't like that. And so I went back in March when COVID hit, and I had to figure out a different way to do things. I went back to your website, again, How to Not Suck at the Murph, and really investigated the GGA website again and figured out what you guys actually do for training, looked at some of the sample training, and that really clicked with me and said, you know what, I don't have to think about what I'm doing tomorrow anymore. I'm able to have someone design that program for me, and it allowed me to just focus on it, which allows me to just go out and do the work instead of having to think of, okay, now I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do that. Your program has allowed me to be very focused on how I'm doing things. And frankly, I've made huge gains in everything that I've done in terms of my running. I don't hate it as much, still don't like it, but I don't hate it as much as I did. And I'm able to make a lot of forward progress just based on the program you guys have put together. So I really do like it. It allows me, and one of the things you referenced was when you're traveling. I travel a lot for work when we're not in the pandemic, and so it allows me to do whatever I need to do wherever I need to do it.
Yeah, I feel like just what you're doing is almost just a freeing feeling, you know? Like, yep. Sometimes my biggest debate when I walk into the gym is like, man, I just don't want to do all, like, if there's like 4 different things that we're using that day. And so sometimes, it feels like that would be like a really freeing feeling. It's just like, hey, this is all I got. I got to make it work with whatever I'm going to do.
Agreed. I absolutely agree.
All right, man. Well, what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
So this is going to be a little bit different answer. So I've thought about this a lot. In Arizona, there's a lot of places to hike. There's mountains literally with 10 minutes from my house. And so there's a mountain there called the Superstition Mountains. And as part of that, there's a hike called the Flatiron. It's about 5,100 feet, and it's about a 3,000 foot elevation gain. And previous to my diagnosis in 2017, I had done that hike, and it was a challenge, but it wasn't that hard. I made it a goal after I had my heart surgery to go and climb that mountain again. And it was the hardest on a mental perspective, hardest emotionally, and hardest physically. Just going and making that elevation gain over a 2-mile strip of time was very challenging. It put me in a spot where I had to stop about every 100 feet because I couldn't breathe or my heart wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And I was nervous about this. This was the first big workout I really had ever done. And so for me, that's the hardest workout I ever did because I had to get over the mental hurdle of being able to do that again. Even though I had done it before, I had to figure out a way to do that again. And when I hit the top of that mountain, it was the most freeing feeling ever. And so while that's not necessarily a workout, that to me was the hardest thing I ever did.
That's huge, man. And have you, are you like fully, I don't know, I guess back to normal, or, what capacity, given, from the heart surgery, do you feel like you're back to where you were fitness wise before? Are there still some days that are more challenging, or is it, or have you surpassed, what you were doing previously, post heart surgery?
That's a great question. So I still have heart failure. I still live with that. The heart surgery I had was to correct a couple things, and so my heart failure is still in effect. But to your point, I would say I have surpassed a lot of things just because I've pushed myself, and I won't let this stop me from doing things. So from a Murph perspective, getting back to that, that probably would have been my answer a year ago. But I was able to push myself harder than I expected when I did the Murph this year than I had previously. And to me, that was a huge thing. So still deal with it, but it's one of those things where I can't let it stop me.
That's huge. All right. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Okay. This is going to be a strange answer, and I apologize for that, but it's building a wall. And I'll tell you what I mean by that is I get up every single morning at just before 5 o'clock. There's mornings where I stayed up too late or mornings where I just don't feel like working out. And so I call those brick days. If I can get through that workout and challenge myself, I give myself a brick. And I can do whatever I want with that brick. I can add it to a wall. I can make a 4-bedroom mansion with it. And so when I look back at all the days that I've challenged myself and given myself a brick, I can look back and see what I've built. And so I've maybe built a wall over the years. So it allows me to have that sense of accomplishment and be able to be mentally tough because I made it through that workout and got myself that brick, and I'm able to do something with it. It lets me look back and say, hey, this is what you've done, even though you didn't feel like doing it that day.
That's really cool. All right. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, being that I don't really have much equipment,
right.
that's a easier answer. The obvious answer would be a staircase, but I'll give you a different answer. It would be a black metal plumbing pipe, one of those old school pipes. I'll tell you why. Because it's so versatile. I can use that as a pull-up bar. I can use that as a bar to hold my toes when I'm doing sit-ups. I can use that for the Iron Mile, which I did, to put the buckets on the side of that and walk that Iron Mile with it. So a black metal pipe would allow me to do any single workout that you give me, because even then I'd be able to do bench press, I'd be able to do squat, and I'd be able to do deadlift with that thing.
Interesting.
I like it. Joe, I would love for you to hop in, man, with your question.
Yeah, if you could have one thing to train with, I guess I could go to, what would it be?
Other than the black metal pipe?
Yes.
I would say
sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. So I would like to
give you something, yeah.
Okay. So it would be a garage with enough room to allow me to have a gym in there in which I could be able to do my Saturday sessions and all of our Meet Yourself Saturdays in that gym itself.
There you go. Yeah, the structure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what is the best advice you have for all of the garage gym athletes out there listening to this right now?
So this is a quote that an author I read a long time ago made, and it was, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. And that's the best advice I have. Push yourself every single day. And especially that's what those Meet Yourself Saturdays are, right? Is that you put yourself in an adverse situation, and it doesn't build that character. It actually reveals who you are. You're actually meeting yourself. So that's the best advice I would give.
Love it. Well, Brian, you have definitely quite a story. Very inspirational. And I love your attitude and everything that you've shared with us today. And I just really appreciate you being a garage gym athlete. So I appreciate your time, and thanks for being around.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.